Hello, lovely people. So, long time no see. I'm sorry. I apologize. My life is going through a major change right now. But did want to sit down and do kind of like my birth story with you guys. Did try to record this a few days ago. Didn't work out as planned. We're gonna try again. Hopefully keep it pretty short. Baby girl right now is in her crib sleeping. I'm actually watching her on my iPad. I do have the Owlet monitor with the little sock thing. So right now it's showing me what her heart rate, oxygen, all that is, and I can actually see her. She's sleeping pretty good right now. So hopefully I can get this done before she gets up. She's eaten, she's been changed. She better let me live my life right now. So if you hear something in the background, Sean's playing his game. He may come join us, he may not, who knows, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to try to remember everything, but honestly a lot of stuff happened so fast. I'm going to try to, so here we go. Basically what happened, we got up on Monday, August the 10th to go to my regular 37-week doctor's appointment. When I got up that morning, you know, the usual, I get up, take a shower, all that type of stuff. I ate a bowl of cereal because I was kind of hungry, and I was like, okay, we'll go get something to eat once we leave, no big deal. So I did that. We get to the doctor's appointment. Sean waits in the car like usual. My blood pressure was elevated. It was actually elevated the highest it's ever been the entire pregnancy. I really don't know why. I felt fine, but then again, when I checked it at home before I went, it was kind of high too. It wasn't as high as it was when I got there, but it was still kind of high. So they ended up checking it like 3 or 4 times. Every time it was still in that same range. It didn't go down. So the doctor was like, he wanted to check my cervix to see, you know, what that's looking like. So that is absolutely horrible. When they check your cervix, it hurts so bad. Sweet Jesus, I ain't like it. No. But anywho, so he checked my cervix. I had dilated 2 centimeters and I was 60% effaced. So after he did that, he was like, okay, we're going to send you over to get an ultrasound, and then I want you to go to the hospital. And I'm like, wait, what? So by this time I text Sean, tell him come in because they're going to do the ultrasound. Then I start asking my doctor important questions like, can I go get something to eat? Because by this time I was starving. So at first he was like, wait, what? I don't think he thought I was serious at first, but I was like, no, I'm serious, because I knew once I got to the hospital, once they put me on that IV, I could not eat anything until baby got here. I was aware of this, so I wanted to eat ahead of time. So he did tell me that I can eat a light meal, but nothing too heavy. So I was like, okay, fine. So Sean came in. Once he came in, they did the ultrasound to basically make sure that baby girl was okay. She was doing well. She wasn't in distress, all that. So she was growing just fine, all that. So we leave. Instead of going to get something to eat, then go straight to the hospital, we actually had to come back home first because number one, we have a dog, so we couldn't just like leave the dog.
Hello, lovely people.
Oh yeah, so get back over here for a second. So when we were leaving the hospital to come, or not leaving the hospital, but leaving the doctor's office to come home, I feel as though this guy's nerves had got to him. I don't know if he feels that way, because
They think it was, but it was just road rage.
but your road rage has never been that bad though.
Nah,
when we was in the car.
Because Houston drivers can't drive for crap. True story.
Okay. So he says it was just road rage.
The only time I felt any type of nerves was when they were literally about to do it.
So yeah, so he says it was road rage. But so yeah, so we get home. We had to get all the stuff together for Bear because my mom was gonna come and pick him up. And then we had to switch cars because the car seat was in my car, and then my hospital bag, everything was at home. So we seriously ran in, got all that, headed out, and then we got something to eat really fast. I think I just got like a breakfast sandwich, since he said for me to not get anything too heavy, and went to the hospital. So the hospital that I delivered at was, I think, only like 20-25 minutes away from here, so, or from home, so it wasn't that bad. We get there, he dropped me off at the front so I can go in and see where all I was supposed to go and everything. They were supposed to have me pre-registered, but for some reason the information didn't transfer over. So I end up spending like an extra like 30 minutes like just trying to get everything registered. So Sean went and parked and came on in. Once I got registered, they put me in a room. I ended up having to switch rooms like shortly after they put me in the room because the blood pressure machine was not working. And of course, since I went in with me having high blood pressure, that is something that was important. They did want to have my blood pressure machine going. So switch rooms. Once I got into the room, so they had me wipe down from the neck down with these. It's basically like some pre-surgical wipes to get the bacteria off your skin, and I'm pretty sure that is just in case they needed to do a C-section or anything like that. My skin would already kind of be prepped. So then did that, and they had me take everything off and then put on a hospital gown. Got into bed. The nurse came in, she got my IV going and put some saline and Pitocin, had that going to get my contractions started. Initially, honestly, when she first started, it wasn't that uncomfortable. It kind of felt like the same old period cramps that I've been having. And then I'm gonna say after about an hour, they intensified a little bit, but it was mainly just I couldn't get comfortable intensified. Not like, oh my God, this hurt so bad intensified. So it wasn't like that. So then, like, because I couldn't get comfortable, when the nurse came back in, by the way, they were coming in like probably like every 30 minutes to an hour max. And I do know that's normal because a lot of times your rounds have to be within every 30 minutes to an hour, so it's fine. When she came back in, because she had to do a COVID test on me to make sure that I was negative. So that test is horrible. It's not the worst test I've ever had in life, but it is horrible. So she did that, and when she did that, she was like, well, do you want one of the birthing balls or the big medicine balls? And so I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. So when she brought it, I did get on it, and it helped a whole lot, like so much more. I could get a little bit more comfortable. My back wasn't hurting as bad. Honestly, when the contractions were coming, because I was like bouncing around on the ball, I didn't even feel it. The only like bad part was when me bouncing on the ball, it kept making the blood pressure cuff and the baby monitor thing they had on me, it kept making it kind of move. So the readings that they were getting at the nurse's station was kind of off. So I had to try to stop bouncing and moving around as much, but I still was like trying to move to stay comfortable pretty much. So then while I was on the ball, I had to go to the restroom, and literally as soon as I got up, I felt a gush of water just whoosh. And my water broke. So I was like, oh crap, okay. So, and it broke like at the perfect time, because right when it broke, the nurse had came back in to check on me. So she saw that it broke, and she was like, okay, well, get back in the bed really quick. Let me check your cervix again. So she checked it. I think I had dilated only to like 3 centimeters, but I had thinned out a little bit more too. So I think I had went from 60% effaced to 70% effaced. So then after she did that, she was like, oh yeah, I can feel her hair, basically, because the sac had broke, so she could feel her hair. And so I still got up and went to the restroom, and then I came back and I laid in the bed because I was starting to get tired. So I thought I was gonna go to sleep. At least I was hoping I was gonna get to go to sleep. So once I laid back down, I tried to sleep, but I was really just restless, and I think I was starting to get kind of anxious, and so I couldn't really go to sleep. And I believe around this time, because I know by this time my mom was off of work, so it had to be about 5 or 6 o'clock, and my nurse came back in to increase my Pitocin, to try to get my contraction stronger and get it going a little bit faster, especially since my water had broke. They didn't want her sitting in there too long. Plus, once your water breaks, you're at increased risk for infection and all that type of stuff. So they were trying to speed stuff up if they could. While I was there, for the most part, my blood pressure was moderate. I'm not gonna say it was great, because it wasn't, but it was moderate. The bottom number was typically in the mid to lower 90s, and the top number was normally like in the high 120s to 130s. So it pretty much stayed in that range. The only time it really went up is if it took it during the time when I was having a contraction, because they did start to get a little bit stronger once she upped the Pitocin. So they did want me, because my blood pressure was high, and that's part of what I went there for. They suggested me getting the epidural. They was like, if you don't want one, you don't have to get one. And then they suggested that I did not wait too long to get the epidural, because if I become in too much pain, that's going to make my blood pressure go up even more. And if it does, like they said, technically they can't monitor what's high blood pressure because of pain and then what's just high blood pressure, which is technically true. So they was like, if it went up too much, I would end up having to get on a magnesium drip, and I did not want that, because magnesium is no fun. So by, I'm gonna say 7 or 8 o'clock, my back was really starting to hurt, and the contractions was really starting to pick up. It was to the point where, like, when they were hitting really fast, like they were coming really fast, and when they would come through, it was like I could talk, but I really kind of didn't want to, because I was trying to just breathe through it. They were not the worst pain I've ever experienced before, and I actually felt like I could have went longer without getting the epidural, but because of my blood pressure, I did go ahead and call the nurse so she could have the anesthesiologist to come in and get ready for the epidural. So then once I called the nurse, she came in and she hung another bag of saline, because they have to give you at least half to a full bag of saline. So basically 500 to 1,000 milliliters of saline before they give you the epidural, because I think they said it can make your blood pressure drop. So they give you that to help with your blood pressure. So I was like, okay, cool. So she hung that, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the anesthesiologist. By the time the bag got to not even the half, the 500, my anesthesiologist was already in there and setting up. Anesthesiologist was amazing as well, by the way. Throw that in there. So he came in. Of course, they set me up, him and the nurse. They got everything laid out. They had me do where, you know, you hold the pillow and you hunch over type thing so they can stick me in my back. Like, I've heard people talk about how horrible getting the epidural was. My anesthesiologist must have been just that great, because it literally felt like a very light pinch and the needle was in. And for the second part, because I know he said the first part is supposed to be like the numbing agent, because I did feel when he put it in, like everything kind of got cool a little bit. And then this next part was the actual epidural. And so once he put that part in, the only like uncomfortable part was I did feel my right leg, not my left leg, my right leg felt like it went numb almost. Like it started to tingle and then it kind of went numb. course, since I've never had an epidural, I didn't know if this was normal or not. So I asked. He said, yeah, that's fine. Like, some people's body react that way. So once he put it in, I could feel it going in, and he started taping me up and everything. He was like, okay, you're done. And so before he could finish taping me, I asked the nurse to get me one of the bags for, like, I think they call it emesis bag, basically if you need to throw up. Because I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. So what she did, she had me to hold on to the side rail with one of my hands and then lay over. And as soon as I laid over, I started throwing up. Like, luckily she gave me the bag though, and it was like, it tastes like medicine when I threw up. It was like I was literally throwing up medicine, and it was like yellow. I know this is TMI, but it was like weird and yellow. And once I threw up, like, I think honestly, it wasn't a whole lot. It was just like I said, it was yellow liquid. Once I threw up a little bit, I felt great. I felt better. Like, no problems after that. But they did lay me back, and they put some cool compress on my forehead and on my neck. So I just laid there, and I was fine after that. And they said it was going to take about 20 minutes for the epidural to kick in. To me, it kicked in immediately because I ain't feeling no more contractions after that. I could still move my left leg. I could still wiggle both my toes. Even though my right leg felt weird, I still could move my toes and things, and I still could technically feel the leg. I just didn't have control over the leg. Now, I could control my left one, no problem, but yeah. So after that, the nurse stayed in for a little bit because they needed to monitor the baby for a full 2 minutes after giving me the epidural to make sure baby was fine. And so I was like, okay, they did that. Then they had me to, after she left out, my regular nurse came in, and it was around shift change. So she had her and the nurse that would be there overnight. They did their shift change report, and they had me lay on my side to see if maybe that would help with like the comfort and things like that. But they did, of course, have to help me. And then after that, they came in. It was actually every hour. It wasn't even every 2 hours. They came in every hour to make me switch sides, basically, you know, bed sores and things like that. They don't want that to happen. Oh, and I forgot, they did put in a catheter. They put in a catheter because, of course, with me getting the epidural, I became a fall risk. So they did not want me getting up if I didn't have to. So after that, I did try to sleep a little bit, but once again, I think it was like nerves or anxiousness or whatever, where I couldn't really sleep. I would fall asleep a lot of times for about, honestly, 30 minutes, if that, at a time, but I still couldn't really get a restful sleep. Sean was knocked out, but I couldn't get no sleep. But I didn't feel nervous. So yes, I couldn't really just get super comfortable and stuff like that. So I don't know. And it was just like, to me, I feel like a lot going on top of, with them coming in, like, it seriously felt like every 30 minutes with them coming in that much. As soon as I would fall asleep, somebody was coming in. So it was just like, what's the point of even trying? Because even though I had my nurse that was coming in every hour to rotate me and change my positions, I also had a tech that was coming in at least every 30 minutes to do my vital signs. And then my doctor came in, and then her pediatrician came in. The people from the front desk would come in. It was a lady about the cord blood. She came in multiple times. Like, it was so many people, like, constantly in and out, that it seriously felt like as soon as I would fall asleep, I was right back up. So that was part of the problem too. So of course, this whole time, since only me and Sean could be there, my phone's ringing the whole time, his phone's ringing the whole time. It got to the point at one time that I did turn my ringer off because I was kind of sick of talking to people. It might sound rude, but I was tired, and I was just like, okay, like, once stuff gets to happening, I'll start calling people if I need to, or texting people, perfectly fine. So around midnight, which I was so sad because, no, it was before midnight. I think it was like 10 o'clock. The nurse came in and she checked, and I think I had went up to like 7 centimeters, and she said I was fully effaced, but I hadn't fully, you know, dilated yet. And so she was like, she could tell that baby was really, really low. So I was like, oh, we're probably gonna have her by midnight. We have her by midnight, because I really wanted her on the 10th. I think I told you guys that. Did want her on the 10th, but that didn't happen. Whatever. So same old same, in and out, in and out. Sean laid out on the couch, because the couch like stretched out into a bed. So he laid out so he can get him some sleep. And I tried to sleep, but once again, I didn't get fully rested, especially when you have a blood pressure cuff going on and off every 30 minutes and people coming in every 30 minutes. It was kind of hard. But then the nurse came in, I believe it was around 2 a.m. and she was asking about my contractions. I told her I really couldn't feel them that much. I was like, but I do feel like pressure down there. So she checked again. She was like, let me check your cervix again. And so she was like, oh shoot, she's basically like down. And so she had me to push a little bit. So I did, like, I didn't even do a full force push. I pushed, and she was like, oh, you pushed really good. She was like, you know, it's not gonna take you no time. She was like, let me go ahead and, no, before she called the doctor, she said, I'm gonna call the doctor and let him know. And so she said, when you start feeling some rectal pressure, give us a call, because that means that, you know, she's getting ready to come out. I was like, okay. And so I asked her to go get me some ice chips, because they wouldn't let me have anything to eat or drink other than ice chips. So when she went and got the ice chips, she wasn't even gone a whole 10 minutes. By the time she came back, I had started feeling rectal pressure that fast. And so I told her, I was like, I know you just asked. I said, but I'm starting to feel the rectal pressure. And so she said, okay, let me check again. So she checked again, and within that little short time period, she had moved down some more. And so she said, I'm gonna go call the doctor. You might want to wake him up, because we're about to have a baby. So I wake him up and tell him what's going on. I start like kind of moving stuff out of the way, because I had took like my iPad and all that so I can have something to play with. So moving all that out of the way, and then within like 30 minutes after that, the like nurses and everything start coming in to set up the stuff for delivery. So they pull the stirrups and stuff out of the bed, set up the warmer for her, all that stuff. And a little bit after that, my doctor came in, and he was like, all right, we're about to have a baby. He's so excited. I love him. And so then he had to go get like his gown and shoe covers, all that stuff. So while he was doing that, I text my mom, Sean's mom, my sister, and all that, and let them know like, hey, we're about to have a baby shortly. And so my sister texts back, and she was like, okay, let me know when she gets here. I completely forgot that my mom had told me to call her. So we have a little one that done woke up from her little nap. Yeah, you woke up from your little nap. So you're gonna be in mommy's video? Yeah. Got a bottle. So yeah, so I completely forgot that my mom had told me to call her when I was getting ready to deliver, but I'm kind of like, lady, it was a lot going on, and I am not, because I know my mama, she would have wanted to be on the phone while I was trying to push, and I'm kind of like, I can't push and breathe in this mask and talk to you at the same time, so you gotta wait. So they got me all set up and stuff, and the nurse was like, on your next contraction, you're gonna push. She was like, can you feel your contractions? I was like, no. And so so they watched the monitor to see when I was contracting, and so they was like, okay, you're contracting, so push. So I did a push. Sean was next to me holding my right leg, and another nurse was on the other side holding my left leg. And so it was like, push, 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 push. I was like, okay, so I pushed. I think I pushed a total of 5 or 6 times, I can't remember, but I told Sean by that third push, I was like, because I couldn't see down there and I couldn't feel down there, so I had no idea whether or not she was coming out or not, and I felt like I wasn't doing a very good job. So I started getting kind of frustrated and like had the I can't do this type of feeling, if that makes any sense. And so it didn't help that basically my nerves really didn't hit me until like literally when they put my feet up in the little stirrups thing. That's when my nerves like hit me. I'm pretty sure the rest of the time I was like anxious, just didn't really know it, but they hit me once my foot got in them stirrups. So I was pushing and I didn't feel like I was doing nothing. And so Sean said by the second or third push, like you could see the bulge like of her coming out. Like, so I was like, oh, I guess I was doing something. And so I believe by the fourth push, her head was out. And so they told me to stop pushing for a second so they could do the little suction-y thingy to get it out of mouth and nose. And so I was like, oh shoot, I'm doing something. Now, mind you, this whole time I'm trying to push with a mask on. I'm struggling. So, I do about, I think literally about 2 more pushes and she was out. And it was like, how I knew she was out, which I still apologize to that nurse about 5 times. All of my, was it the amniotic fluid, like shot out, like it was a wave, just shot out, and it got all over the nurse next to me, the one that was holding my leg. It didn't get over on Sean. I don't think it got on Dr. Med. I don't think it got on nobody but her. It went in an angle straight to her, and it got all over her, and she didn't have on a gown. So I was like, I'm sorry. But she had to change her clothes, so she went and changed her clothes. So I was like, okay, good. And then a little bit after that, they gave Sean the scissors so he could cut the umbilical cord, and then they plopped her on me, and it was just like, I literally started shaking like immediately when they put her on me. Like, felt like my whole body was shaking. I couldn't feel my whole body, but it felt like it was shaking. And I was just looking at her like wow, like, and I just kept saying hi because I didn't know what else to say. I was just like, hi, okay. And so I was just like holding her. She didn't cry immediately. I believe she didn't actually cry until they put her on the little baby warmer thing. When they took her off of me, that's when she started to cry. She was wiggling like when I had her and moving, but yeah, so they took her over there. That's when Sean took pictures and videos and all that stuff, and then the baby nurse brought her back and put her on my chest so we can do some skin to skin. And I was just like holding her and just looking at her like, I made this thing. It's genuinely how I felt. In my head, was like, I made this. And so then once they got everything cleaned up and out, the newborn nurse or baby nurse came back in, and she helped me with breastfeeding, helped me to get her latched on. Pretty much showed me the best way, or 2 different ways to hold her. One is the football hold, and then the regular traditional hold type thing. And the football, depending on what I am like doing, the football, or where I'm sitting, the football hold for her actually works the best because of the size of my breast. But she actually likes laying across me instead of the football hold. At first she would do the football hold fine, not so much anymore. And now she's doing breast and bottle. This is still my breast milk. I do pump, so she's on just about all breast milk now. We have given her a little bit of formula a few times, but I try not to often if I don't have to. Looks like she's falling asleep. But yeah, so I give it to her sometimes because my milk production is like up and down, which I'll get into that in another video. So yeah, so then everybody left out, and it was just me, her, and Sean just like there. And honestly, okay, let me tell you, this might sound rude, it might sound mean, but one of the things that I'm kind of appreciative about with like COVID not letting a lot of people come visit is because we got to just have time to ourselves, like for the first day, and just like spend time with her, hold her, just like be together with our thoughts. And it wasn't a whole lot of like noise pretty much, and everybody's like pulling for her, and like we just got to be. So that wasn't bad. If you're somewhere where your spouse or whoever can't be in there, I am so sorry, because the moment is a lot. It's a lot going on. You have a lot going through your head, like mentally, emotionally, everything going on. So for me, that was very nice. Now I did, the next morning, my mom called. We did send loads and loads of pictures to the moms, and to the family. So that was pretty great. But I just enjoyed us three. And once we got home, it was still just us three, because of course we are limiting guests right now. My mom and my sister have finally been able to see her, but we are limiting guests. And then we stayed overnight, one more night in the hospital. So we left on the 12th. I got there on the 10th that evening, and we left on the 12th. So wasn't there super long. The rest of the time in the hospital, honestly, was just kind of boring. They were doing the regular coming in to massage my fundus to make sure that my uterus was going back down. Once they got the epidural out, they were making sure that I was urinating, passing gas, and that I could walk just fine. That was genuinely it. Other than that, it was just the nurses in and out as usual doing the vital signs, and then the people from the birth certificate and stuff office to come in. That was genuinely it the rest of the time we were there. So yeah, once we got home, that's when stuff got real. But it was, before we left, it was so funny though, because that next night our nurse came in, and I genuinely think she could just tell that we were tired, because she was like, do you want me to take her to the nursery for 2 hours? So at first we were both like, no, but like she was kind of adamant on it, but she was adamant in a nice way about it. And she was just saying that like, once y'all get home, it's just y'all, that's it. And there's not going to be a nursery or a nurse there to help you, so you might want to get this sleep. And so she went ahead and took her. And at first I was like, I'm gonna call her in like 30 minutes and have her bring her back. I passed out immediately. I think, and I know Sean passed out too, I genuinely think it's like, at least for me, I had insomnia at least the last month of me being pregnant. I couldn't sleep very well. And then, like I said, I was starting to get anxious when I was in the hospital, so I didn't really sleep while we were there. So those 2 hours that they gave me was absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was really it though. I did see, which I haven't replied to the comments yet, which I need to go back and do. And then I did get a few comments and messages on Instagram. I do appreciate all of them. Thank you guys so much for all of the congratulations and well wishes. For those that were asking, delivering, at least in my experience, I can't speak on everybody's, delivering during COVID was not horrible at all. It actually, other than not being able to have your family members there, it was actually quite normal, and we had to wear a mask, but that was seriously it. It wasn't bad at all. I did deliver at the Memorial Hermann hospitals. I've heard so much great things about them that I was actually excited when I was able to deliver at Memorial Hermann. Of course, they have them all over Houston. All of them are supposed to be great. I seriously have not heard anything bad about any of the Herman facilities, whether it is Sugarland, Katy, Woodlands, Medical Center. All of them are supposedly great. So if you are delivering, they're great. I've heard a lot of good things about Texas Women's. I'm not sure about Methodist. I really don't know. But Memorial and Texas Women's are the two that I hear the most about them being really, really good. So yeah, so any questions, leave them down below. Send me a message on Instagram, because I do get you guys' message and I try to reply as swiftly as I can. Of course, now my life is a little bit different, so I might not be able to get to your message as quick as I used to, but I do try. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for coming on this journey with me, and now we have a whole new little human. We might do like some kind of little mommy series or something. I don't know. Tell me what you guys want. I'm trying to figure some stuff out. But yeah, and I will see you guys later. Bye. You know what I just went through. That. Hey, who you tipping? Those guys.
She's gonna yell because she's moving a lot, so she's gonna yell at y'all. There's a lot of movement going on.
Hi, honey. Oh, that face.